Hi, welcome back to my channel. It's just Georgie. I'm Georgie, and if you're new here, welcome. Happy to have you here. Now, it has been a hot minute since I've uploaded a video, but you know what? We're not going to worry about that. That's past Georgie, and this is present Georgie. Present day Georgie is making progress, even if I'm not making progress on my Goodreads challenge. So we are officially in the second half of 2023, and I have not read as many books as I was hoping. I think I was a little delusional when I set my Goodreads challenge. I think I got a little over-optimistic. But to be fair, I do this every year. I think for the last, 6-7 years, I have told myself I'm going to read 50 books. Have I ever reached that goal? No. Have I gotten close to that goal? Also no. Have I reached halfway? Not even close. Actually, I have read exactly 8 books, I believe 5 years in a row. And then last year I made some improvements. Last year I really pushed myself and I read 10 whole books. Thank you. It was a big achievement. I actually finished one of those books on New Year's Eve. I was reading in an absolute panic. I was like, no, I need to get to 10. And I got to 10. So thank you to that last book. Got me, a fifth of the way to my challenge. But this year I genuinely want to try. It's hard to find time, but I am stuck quite heavily on Book Talk. I am very heavily influenced. I love seeing all of the Book Talk hauls and all of the challenges. I'm obsessed and I want to join in. So here I am. Now I've seen quite a few people doing the mid-year reading check-in, and I thought I would do one of my own, but consider this a realistic book check-in. This is a realistic check-in of someone who doesn't actually have a lot of time to read. So we're going to go through the books that I have read so far this year and my thoughts on those. I'm also going to take a look at the books that I'm currently reading and give you my thoughts on those so far, even though I haven't finished them, and then maybe we'll check in later and see if I actually finish them. And I'm also going to go through the list of books on my bedside table that I have sitting there. Have I read any of them? No. Am I reading any of them? Also no, but they're there for vibes, and that's important. And we're also going to have a look at the list of books I have borrowed from the library but never actually read and then had to sadly return, or they were auto-returned. Thank you to the Libby app for not giving me any overdue fines. I really appreciate that. But I have borrowed quite a few books and didn't even get to read them before they got returned. So we're going to go through those as well. Now, if you have read any of the books that I go through today, please let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let me know if you loved them, hated them. If you have any recommendations for me, please let me know. I need recommendations. I want to read more. But let's jump into it. So, as always, I've set myself the goal of 50 books, and so far I have read a grand total of 4. So I'm about 24 books behind, according to Goodreads. Thank you for roasting me. This is why I don't want to use Goodreads anymore. But let's take a look at the books I've read so far. So the first book I read was a nice little fun light read. It was The Charm Offensive by Alison Cochrane? I'm going to butcher all of these names. The Charm Offensive is a super cute, very light and funny queer romance, sort of set behind the scenes of a show called Ever After, which is basically The Bachelor, and as someone who loves trash reality shows, this was up my alley. It dealt with a bit of mental health, which I liked. I liked the representation, but it didn't grab me. I did sort of have to power through it a little bit. I think I was stuck in a little bit of a book rut at the time, and it wasn't maybe the right book to pull me out of it, but it was a fun read. It was enjoyable. I liked it. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. I gave it 3 stars. I hadn't actually read a lot of rom-coms in a while. I haven't done a lot of reading, as you can tell by my previous book stats. So this was a nice little ease back into books. The second book that I read this year, I really dove in deep. I really said, let's rip the band-aid off and read something tough. And I did. I picked a tough read. I read My Lovely Wife in the Psych Ward by Mark Lukács. Listen, we know that I can't pronounce surnames. We've learned that very quickly. Listen, it's fine. But My Lovely Wife in the Psych Ward. This was really gut-wrenching and hard to read emotionally. It made me not particularly like either of them. And the thing is, it's not based on a true story. It's a biography. So it is about two real people and their real experience. It's about Mark's wife who spent time in a psych ward after a psychotic breakdown. So if you're not prepared to read about that, I definitely steer clear. It was very intense and raw. It was a really raw read. I think I struggled with this because he didn't particularly write his wife in the most compassionate way. And I think there was a lot of reasons for that. I think maybe he's obviously still recovering from what they both went through. They're both still recovering. That's going to be something that'll take a long time to get through. But it was a tough read. It was really hard. I didn't love it. I powered through it because I wanted to get to the ending. I wanted to see how they got through it, but it was tough. I also gave this 3 stars, probably more of a 3.5 because it was very eye-opening in terms of the healthcare system in America, especially the stigma against mental illness. So it was very eye-opening in that sense, but it was a hard read. Neither of them come off particularly well, I think, in the book. Despite what she's gone through, despite what he goes through in supporting her, yeah, it was a hard read. So I took a bit of a break from reading after I finished that book because it was a little bit emotionally scarring and a little jarring, and I think my head needed a break from words. So the next book I picked up was a little bit lighter. I read Witch Please by Anne Aguirre. And this was fun. It was cute. It was like a little witchy rom-com book, very sort of Charmed-esque. I don't know, it was quirky, it was funny, it was a little bit mysterious. I didn't realize it was part of sort of an ongoing series, so the ending felt a little abrupt to me. I was a little confused. I was like, huh, what now? Excuse me? But then I realized there's more to come and I said, okay, so now I'm gonna have to keep reading more because I need answers. I found the characters pretty likable. They definitely had their flaws. Neither of them were perfect at all, but that's okay. It was fun. It was a good little quirky read. If you want a bit of magic, but nothing too dark and heavy, there wasn't a whole heap of world building that needed to happen. It was just sort of, she's a witch and that's fine. Good for her. Love her journey. And yeah, it's a little bit spicy, a little bit of spice in there, but it was cute. I liked it. I gave it 3.5 stars. We are seeing a trend. So far, I am stuck in the 3.5 run. That's okay. But I have read one more book so far this year. I have read one more. The last book that I've read, the most recent book that I've read so far, was The Woman in the Library by Sulari Gentile. And this was fun. It was a mystery, a bit of a murder mystery. It was definitely darker than Witch Please. It had a bit of intrigue, there was murder, there was a little bit of romance. My only thing with this book is there's sort of 2 storylines happening simultaneously, and it was a little confusing to get my head around. I had to really think as it jumped between the 2 stories, and they kind of merge, but they kind of don't. So I didn't love that. So yes, we are still stuck on the 3 stars, but it was a good read. I liked it. I liked the mystery. I liked trying to pick out the clues, trying to guess what was going to happen. I'm not very good at guessing, so that was fun because everything was a little surprise. So it was good, but it wasn't great. So that's the 4 books that I've read this year. Unfortunately, not really any standouts, nothing that grabbed me. I haven't read a 5-star yet. I'm looking for a 5-star. I think I've been trying to branch out from what I usually read. I tend to read a lot of YA fantasy, and I was trying to branch away from that, but I think I need to go back to something closer to my roots to really find a 5-star book. But that's okay. I've got time. I've got 6 months-ish. 5 months? I've got time. Listen, maths is not my strong suit. Apparently neither is reading, so someone help. But now let's take a look at the books that I have started reading that will potentially be a 5-star. Surely one of these will be a 5-star. I'm holding out hope. So the first book that I have started and haven't complete, but I'm getting through it. It's just taking me longer because I keep stopping and starting, and then I forget where I'm up to, and I have to go back 3 chapters, and then I read a bit more, and then I leave it, and I have to go back again. But doesn't mean it's not a good book. It might be a good book. We're going to find out. It is Lore by Alexandra Bracken. And it's definitely interesting. It's got mythology, it's a bit of mystery, which I love. I love my Greek mythology. I've got my Percy Jackson books hiding somewhere behind me. I don't know which side of the bookshelf they're in. They're not there. but I have my Percy Jackson books. So I was looking for something that looked into Greek mythology a little bit again. So I'm enjoying it so far. I just need to like really sit down and commit and read it because I like the characters. I like where it's going. I just need to get into it. So we'll see what my thoughts are. I'm predicting I'm going to give it 4 stars. That's my prediction. Let's see how I feel when I finish it. The next book that I'm currently reading is The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake. Olivia Blake? I think that's how it's pronounced. And this has been all over Book Talk, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure people have talked about this. I've somehow avoided all the spoilers. I just knew that it was a bit of mystery, a bit of fantasy. And you know what? That's up my alley. So I picked that up, I bought it. I bought both of these books so far without actually reading them and without really knowing much about them, which is fun. And Atlas 6 I've started, I'm only a few chapters in, but I am hooked. I'm really enjoying the characters that we've met so far. I'm enjoying the mystery. I'm enjoying the world building we're seeing so far. So I'm predicting maybe a 4.5, if not a 5-star. We'll see. And the final book that I'm currently reading that I'm actually closest to finishing, and I have been powering through it despite it taking me a while to get into, is A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. Now you can see I do enjoy my Sarah J. Maas. I have more of her books down there. What do we call it? ACOTAR. Everyone calls it ACOTAR on Book Talk. Yes, ACOTAR. I'm reading ACOTAR at the moment. It took me a while to get really stuck into. I felt like it was quite a slow start and I really wasn't hooked in. But now I'm halfway. I'm hooked. Also, can someone please tell me how to pronounce all of the names? Is there a pronunciation guide somewhere? Because every time I'm reading the main character's name, I know I'm not pronouncing it correctly in my head. So if someone could give me a pronunciation guide, that would be amazing. That'd be really helpful. So that's the 3 books that I'm currently reading so far. I'm halfway into ACOTAR. I'm about a third into Lore, and I'm a few chapters into Atlas 6. Why do I keep stopping and starting so many books? We may never know. Now let's get into the books that I have sitting on my bedside table. First book that I have sitting by my bedside table that I have actually read a tiny bit of, but not that much, is this little funky one. It is The Mystery of the Blue Train by Agatha Christie. And I'm actually barely into it at all. So I don't really know what it's about. I don't know if it's one of the most popular ones or not. All I know is that it's sitting here. A little bit of a dark book, actually. The cover is a little bit dark. Maybe that's why I haven't been sleeping well, because it's literally sitting next to my head. Anyway, let's put that aside. I might move that. I never actually looked at the cover. That is creepy. You don't want to sleep next to that. Let's move on. Next book is one that I bought from a tiny little bookshop and I knew nothing about it, but the girl at the counter said that apparently the local book club was reading it as well. So I wanted to be a part of something, even though I'm not a part of that book club. It is The Girl They Left Behind by Roxanne Veletzos. Oh, I haven't got a bookmark in there? Oh, I do, but I'm not up to that. All right, I have a bookmark in there. That's not where I'm up to. I don't know where I'm up to. But so far, it's been quite intriguing. I have enjoyed the writing. There's a romance in there? I am not up to that yet. She's a child. Anyway, this is an intriguing read. If anyone's read this and has any thoughts, let me know. I just sort of picked it up. I liked the cover and I liked how it was very obviously a historical romance set in wartime, as you can tell by the woman looking towards the city with the planes overhead. Classic. So we're going to see how we go with that one. I need to figure out where I'm up to because that bookmark is definitely in the wrong spot. Amazing. I'm doing so well this year. The next book that I have sitting on my bedside table, I actually know nothing about, and it's just sitting there for vibes. It is God's Behaving Badly by Marie Phillips, and it just looks cool. I love the title. I do love a little bit of Greek mythology, as I have said, and I like the concept of God's behaving badly. So at some point I will get to this. Apparently it's very, very funny and delightfully original. So, you know, if you've read it, let me know. If it's any good, at some point I'll get there. And the last book that I have sitting by my bed that really shows you how delusional I am, because why would someone want to read this before they go to bed? I'm not too sure. It's going to take me a long time to read it. It is the very lovely, deliciously heavy The Romanovs. Look at this. It's beautiful. She's stunning. I have barely dipped into this. Maybe I haven't at all. I've definitely read a few chapters. I just obviously didn't mark it because I'm reading these right before I go to bed. I'm not thinking straight. But I love me some history. I love to feel like I'm using my history minor wisely. So I like to read a bit of history. So this is sitting by my bedside table. I feel intelligent when I have this by my bedside table. You know, I feel smart. I feel ambitious. I feel like having this here makes me think I'm the kind of person that will read this at night. Do I? No, but it's there just in case. Oh my God. That's terrifying. Imagine reading and then you close the book. Ugh, scary. Okay, this last category is just the books that I have borrowed, whether on Libby or whether I borrowed the actual hard copy, and I didn't even get to page 1 and I had to return them because I forgot to read them. Not that I didn't want to, I just didn't get around to them. And I'm just mentioning these because if you have heard of any of these, if you've read any of these, please let me know if I should give them another chance. Should I borrow them again and actually give them a read this time? Let me know. So we're gonna power through these. The first one I have is, over here, is The Stand-In by Lily Chu. This looks so sweet and so fun. I borrowed this. I was fully intending to read it. I just didn't get around to it. It looks like a bit of a rom-com, looks like a little bit of a mistaken identity. It looks fun, looks fresh, and hopefully I will get to it. So if you've read it, let me know. The next one is The Jane Austen Remedy by Ruth Wilson. This looks like a really sweet and interesting memoir. It's about a woman who is reading Jane Austen novels and reflecting on how I think they've impacted her life. It looks really fascinating. I love a bit of Jane Austen. I love her impact. I think what a powerful impact she has made on society with Pride and Prejudice alone. I do want to read the Jane Austen Remedy. I just haven't got around to it. So if you've read it and you enjoyed it, please let me know if you think I should give it another go, because I think I would like to borrow it and actually read it. The next one is Murder Most Royal by S.J. Bennett. This looks like a bit of a mystery. It's historical. It's got a little bit of royalty sprinkled in there. A lot of things that I love. I think things that I find really fascinating, but I started reading it and I was not really in a sort of historical fiction mood, so I didn't get stuck into it. But I had intentions to read it. I opened the first page. You know, that's progress. That's a step. The first step is the first page. Someone should write that down. Put that on a poster. It's probably already on a poster. I do want to go back to this because I do really enjoy a little bit of a murder mystery. I enjoy trying to solve it as I'm reading it. And, you know, I like a bit of royalty. So I might give this a second go when I'm more in the mood, I think. What is this one? I don't remember that one at all. And the final book that I borrowed without actually getting to page 1 even was A Letter to Three Witches by Elizabeth Bass. I bet it's Bass. I bet I've pronounced it wrong. But Elizabeth Bass. And this was described as sort of Bewitched meets Practical Magic, and they are two of my favorite movies. I love witchy books with a bit of realism, you know, sort of set not necessarily in a fantasy world. It's a bit of romance, it's a bit of magic. So I didn't get to it, but I'm very intrigued by the book. I am hoping that it lives up to the hype. You know, if you're going to put it on par with Bewitched, it better live up to expectations. So I think I am probably going to borrow this again when I have time. Maybe I just need to finish my other books first. I think I need to read a 5-star book first. When I finish a 5-star book, then I can go and read these ones again. How about that? I just want to read a 5-star book. Before the end of the year would be really nice. I don't want to rate every single book 3 stars. So that wraps up my little mid-year reading check-in. As you can see, there are a lot of books incomplete, unfinished. So maybe we'll check in another month. I'll see if I've made any more progress. I do want to make some more videos about my reading journey and do some more book reviews when I actually finish some more books. So maybe that will motivate me. If you have agreed with any of my book thoughts so far, or if you've disagreed, let me know in the comments. And if you have any book reviews based on what I've mentioned so far, please let me know. I really want to read more this year. I would be happy to get to 25 books. Let's try and get halfway to my reading goal. I don't think I can get to 50 now because that's a lot of books. And I can't do math, but that's more than one a week now. I don't know if I have time for that, but I could probably get to 25 books. Surely. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and what else do we have to do? Press the notification bell so you get notified every time I upload. I also stream some cozy games over on Twitch if you want to find me there. All the links are down below. I stream on Tuesdays, Thursdays and Saturdays, 8 p.m. Aussie Eastern Standard Time. And again, all the links you need are down below. Wherever YouTube wants to put them, I don't know, they'll be around somewhere. You'll click around, you'll find some links, and you'll find me wherever you want to find me. I will see you soon with another cozy video. Until then, bye!